Real life of Man City's Phil Foden, mum's admission, other name, special number. Mum Claire described the young Phil as the cheapest kid ever, no games, no toys, nothing, just a football. Phil Foden, he's one of our own, goes the chant that now regularly rings around the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City's former boy wonder, who was once lovingly nicknamed the Stockport Iniesta, a nod to the Barcelona legend, has become a superstar in his own right. Last summer, when Kevin De Bruyne limped out of the Champions League final, it was Foden who stepped into the breach. On the biggest of all stages, the 23-year-old put in an assured performance to get City over the line, and beat Inter Milan 1-0 to secure the club's status as champions of Europe for the first time. It completed a historic treble for the Blues, who picked up the Premier League title and FA Cup just weeks earlier. This season he is once again spearheading the club's push for glory, scoring 11 goals and registering 8 assists in all competitions. It has been a meteoric rise for Foden since he made his debut for the club in a Champions League game against Feyenoord in November 2017. Philip Walter Foden was born on May 28, 2000, to parents Phil Foden Sr. and Claire Rowlands. He is one of 5 siblings: Callum, who is 3 years older, and younger siblings Kenzie, Lois, and Avriar. He became known as Ronnie to family and friends, after his nan suggested it as a nickname to avoid the confusion of sharing his own father's name. Phil Sr. and Callum were actually United fans. However, Claire and the rest of his family are City fans, with Phil quickly adopting his mum's love of the Blues. The family lived in an end-terraced house on Grenville Street in Edgeley, in central Stockport, just a stone's throw from Stockport County's Edgeley Park ground. Phil would spend his hours playing football in a nearby car park. Mum Claire said he was the cheapest kid ever, telling the Daily Telegraph his childhood was no games, no toys, nothing, just a football. Phil went to Bridge Hall Primary School, nestled in the middle of a huge housing estate on the opposite side of the railway tracks to Edgeley, in neighbouring Adswood. It was there he first came to the attention of his beloved Blues, when the head of City's junior academy Terry John put on an event at the school. Foden said in 2022, "They say things happen for a reason, and I believe in that because I wasn't even meant to train that day. They were training the under-6 and I think I might have only been 4 at the time, and they asked the school if they had anyone else who could play, and my PE teacher said, 'Yeah, we have this little guy who is pretty good.' So they brought me out for individual training and then gave me a card to give to my parents, and I have been there ever since." Foden's former coach Steve Eyre said he was always a shining light in the City's youth setup. Phil was nobody's secret. You could walk across into the Dome at Platt Lane at 4 o'clock to watch 100 boys training and spot him straight away, amongst the crowd, Steve said. "The first time I saw him he was like a beacon," he went on. "He was something different, and still is now, in the Premier League. There were loads of kids with enthusiasm, but there was just something a bit special about Phil. I think he's the best young player that I've ever seen with the ball at his feet. And I said that when he was 10. City linked Foden up with local junior club Reddish Vulcans, to give him a taste of competitive football at an early age, and he became part of their all-conquering junior outfit. His coach there, Steve Williams, said, "At 6, 7, 8 years old, you often play against kids who have never played football before, and a good player can stand out. But Phil stood out against the best players. We won everything. Against the best junior clubs from Liverpool, who attracted Everton and Liverpool youngsters, and against local clubs like Fletcher Moss, who had young United lads like Marcus Rashford. Phil was always the best player on the pitch, and that was in every single game he played." But Phil's stay at Vulcans was short and sweet, and, as soon as he was 8 he was snapped up by City's academy. Landing him was seen as a big coup for City at the time. United and Liverpool also wanted him, but City had already captured his heart and impressed his family, to the point that he did not even try other academies. Foden spent 1 year at Stockport Academy, in Cheadle Heath, just a short walk from Edgeley. However, after year 7, he left and was enrolled at the prestigious St. Bede's College. City run a program which sees all their young academy hopefuls given the option of scholarships at the historic private Roman Catholic school in Whorley Range, where annual fees range from £8,000 to £11,000 a year. Phil Foden runs riot as Man City remind Arsenal of their title credentials, 5 talking points. Brighton and Hove Albion 0-2 for Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's title holders kept their fate in their own hands as they chase a fourth straight Premier League crown. Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden set Manchester City on course for a comfortable victory at Brighton as the reigning Premier League champions kept up their push for a fourth successive title. De Bruyne broke the deadlock inside 20 minutes at the Amex Stadium with a rare-headed goal, before Foden added to City's advantage with a quick-fire double. Any hopes of a collapse to rival Liverpool's on Wednesday night were quickly put to bed, and Julian Alvarez added a fourth around the hour mark. The result lifted City above Liverpool into second and means a perfect record from their last 5 games of the season will ensure Pep Guardiola's men end the season as champions. Less than maximum points could yet be enough if Arsenal, their closest challengers, slip up. Before kickoff, some were wondering whether Roberto De Zerbi's Seagulls might provide a potential banana skin. Those fears were quickly allayed, though, and it's on to the next one. After mixed results for Arsenal and Liverpool earlier in the week, City had to try to focus on their own task at hand. Mikel Arteta's Gunners thrashed Chelsea on Tuesday to lay down a marker, but Jurgen Klopp's Reds were unable to follow suit as they lost at Everton the following day. The first big chance of the game came their way, but Nathan Ake was always stretching to meet Phil Foden's free kick and couldn't divert the ball on target. They didn't have to wait much longer, though, and it was De Bruyne who struck first with a stooping header from Kyle Walker's cross. Lewis Dunk's header moments later reminded City their opponents posed a threat, but City always looked like they had more goals in them. So it proved when Foden's free kick took a deflection off Pascal Gross and found its way past Seagulls keeper Jason Steele. It was all over before half-time, with Foden benefiting from a loose Valentin Barco pass and finding the corner, while Alvarez added gloss to the scoreline from a second Walker assist of the night. Here are Mirror Football's talking points as City march on. 1. De Bruyne has more strings to his bow. Is there anything Kevin De Bruyne can't do? If you'd said, score a headed goal in the Premier League, you'd have been right, until tonight. The Belgian has scored with his head before, most notably in the 2021-22 Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. That one was a close-range effort as he dived to meet an in-swinging Riyad Mahrez delivery, but this one required a lot more work. Purists might refer to Walker's cross being at an awkward height, too high for a comfortable volley and too low, and perhaps too deep, for an easy-headed effort. Turns out De Bruyne has pinging a header into the top corner from 18 yards in his arsenal, though, along with everything else. Back in 2019, City needed a long-range thunderbolt from Vincent Kompany to remain in control in the title race. Somehow, when the chips are down, they always find a way, however unlikely. 2. Foden still leading by example. If there were any lingering questions about Phil Foden's quality after his 11 league goals last term, he has answered them this time around. The England international's hat-trick against Aston Villa in March took him beyond that tally in the league and above 20 in all competitions, and he could yet end the campaign with 20 in the league alone. The 23-year-old's free kick was his 15th in the Premier League, and he tucked home number 16 just after the half-hour mark. There were questions over the former, with Foden appearing to slip rather than being fouled, but no doubt over the second of his goals on the South Coast. With the Euros on the horizon, England have plenty of attacking talent at their disposal. It would be hard to justify leaving Foden out of the starting 11, though, with national team boss Gareth Southgate able to enjoy Thursday's goals close up. 3. Barco's full debut to forget. There are baptisms of fire and then there's this. Valentin Barco had played just 11 senior minutes for Brighton before the City game, but was handed a full debut against the champions by Roberto De Zerbi. The teenage left-back, who joined from Boca Juniors in January, is already a full international for Argentina. Going up against City in front of the eyes of the world was a different kind of pressure compared to friendlies for his country, though. Sadly, confidence can be a two-way street. The teenager didn't necessarily seem overawed, but perhaps he should have been as he gave the ball away for Foden's second and City's third. He and his partner moved into a mansion, said to be worth around £2.85 million, in Prestbury, in Cheshire's Golden Triangle, popular with footy and showbiz stars. Whilst he is also said to have bought his parents a 6-bed gated house nearby, worth a reported £3 million. However, on more than one occasion he has pictured and videoed having a kickabout with kids close to where he grew up, where there is now a mural of him painted on a wall. "I've still got family around Stockport, so I go and visit sometimes, and kids are just starstruck to see me. It's quite strange because I was one of those kids and was just the same as them," he said. "They look up to you, so it's just to give something back because I used to play there growing up. It's good to play with them and see a smile on their face. I just want to be a good role model for them." In December last year, Foden, now 23, announced he had passed his driving test and posed proudly with his certificate. Asked by one interviewer why he hadn't done it sooner, he said, "I just never thought I needed to do it, do you know what I mean? It was probably laziness, to be honest." On the pitch, on top of the treble, Foden has helped City bag the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup in December. That was Foden's 14th major honour. That has led some experts to predict he could eventually eclipse Ryan Giggs and become the most decorated British footballer of all time. He is also by many as pivotal to England's chance of winning this summer's European Championships, as the Three Lions chase a first trophy since the 1966 World Cup. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this, don't forget like and subscribe this channel. Goodbye.